Hello.
Hello. Alors attends, on va regarder le lien.
Non, c'est pas ça.
Ben, il est où? Non, ça c'est screen share.
Non,
Événement direct. Mais non, il n'y a pas. Network management. Du coup,
Oui.
ça?
Oui.
Mais de vidéo,
Non.
Mais tu.
C'est pas ici.
No.
Open this in a new tab.
This.
Wait.
This is verbing, and I need the accent. And I don't know how to do it because it's not Italian.
Okay, hello people, fuck Booba, fuck my life. It's a huge fail again. Yeah, it's already recording actually. So we are going to start the session about network management. As soon as I send the Hangout link to Emojipedia. Emojipedia here.
Because I'm really suffering.
Share?
Yes.
Putain.
There's
like too many programs going at the same time. Okay. So for the session about network management, a couple of this, it's going to last 49 minutes.
No.
Whoa.
This one. No?
Yeah.
Okay, so can you?
I'm like.
Okay, but is it?
It's like.
Okay.
Mine is like.
Okay. So expectations regarding this session is first, again, remember, so listen to what I said, that's what is on the slide. So don't hesitate to take notes and to write the questions, and when you have the slide of question and answer, feel free to do it. Another small disclaimer, this is like a kind of general session about network management, because none of you has been on MCDP before. And then like at the end, I will try to leave a space still to have like maybe more personal tips and tricks regarding a French commission. If you have like more questions regarding this and then more network, like you have as well the entire MC to ask questions regarding like managing a French network and a French commission, because like it's two different types of networks. Cool. So as for this session, we'll be reviewing like 3 different topics. So first, a small introduction. 3 regarding like identity, network support, and strategic direction. So 4 pillars for network management. And another part. So what is actually, how do we actually do a network management? And leave you a final message. So I will be asking you a couple of reflective questions on the second part, so that you can take notes and think of already like on how do you want to have your commission management for the next term, network management. You know this, there is this ISEC way with the why, the how, the what, and the who of the network management way of this organization. This one, for instance, I found it in like that was delivered in a conference in LATAM. Like I took a lot of notes from this session because it was like really good, I thought, for this session and for this space for you to know, because we never had it before here in this entity, and I thought that this is a session that I'm going to be delivering because I think this is like really like basics that you guys should know. So regarding the why is, like for you, your role as for the MC is not to do HND, is not to be like one extra LC, is to support the network and to achieve goals, and to achieve the goal of the entity. And that is the reason why like we're having this network management, this like concept of network management, is because you're not the network, they're the network that you're managing. The how, it's actually the purpose of this session. And the idea is that customization is the secret, because you cannot manage this network, the French network, the CXY commission, the finance commission, NSTs like in the same way. And that is the reason why like each and every stakeholders, like you need to have a customized way of dealing with them. The what is going to be the first part of the introduction I was explaining you, with the identity, the community, customized support, and the strategic direction that we have to go through in order to have a proper network management. And the who, so it's basically so for you, like if it's a commission, like you can see it as like broader, but it's LCVPs. And remember that because mostly like is for commission management is LCVPs, but you're not their only team leader. They have another one that is called LCP, and this team leader is the one delivering team standards to the LCVPs. So that is the thing that is a bit like tricky and a bit fucked up, and that makes your who like big and a little more complicated to interact with. So I was telling you 4 pillars for network management: identity, community, support, and direction. And we're going to go to the 4 of them. And I give you a quick definition of what do they mean, all of them, and how then do you implement it within your commissions. So regarding identity, the idea here is that it's the conception. So I don't want to read the slide, but it's here like what do you see? Like quality and beliefs of the commission, and what makes the commission special, what makes a group special, and what makes them unique. And that is the thing that you do usually at STEP in terms of entity, with the entire entity, and then with commissions, and we review it at NTC to make sure that this is enforced, so that you create a sense of belonging and uniqueness. You make your commissions, your different groups of people working, that they feel proud of it. They feel proud of it, like they feel unique, and they're not only part of ISEC in France, but they're like working with the MC Orion, for instance, for this term. They're part of the Minions League Commission. They're part of the CX Power Commission. They're part of a commission, but they're like unique, and they're proud of it, and that is what is going to be like pushing them. The second pillar is community. Regarding community is you have commissions, and again, I was mentioning it a lot during this MC2MC. You want to actually build a lot on this community pillar. This is something that is going to be one of your focus, I guess, for the next term, with this idea of collaborations, etc., etc. That you build not especially with competition, but mostly with collaboration in this one. So if you want to apply this definition that I'm not going to read to ISEC, is making sure that you have like peer-to-peer support, for instance, within commissions, and you're creating pairs, you're creating groups, subgroups within teams. So either within commissions, within NSTs, within the entity, you can pair LCs, you can pair 2, and you can to have these calls and to have like this mutual support as well that they can have, and they can give to each and every one. The third one is the support. As I told you, one of the why of the MC is to support the LCs, and that is actually when it comes the MC to LC support. And actually, I really like this this definition. So we will go through it. But idea of support is first to agree with or to approve of someone of something. So there's always like actually when you see this definition, it's always you as MC going to one group of stakeholder, again entity, network, whatever. And they're saying, we will do this like this, and there's like no way of that that you can discuss. This is not happening because you're not providing a support. You're giving. It's not even giving direction. Is that you're giving? You're forcing someone to do something. You're not providing. In order to provide support, you need to understand what is the support that you can provide. What are the needs, and how can you help it? And that is where comes this MC to LC support, is that you need to understand what are the LC needs in order to shape your role as well, and to shape how can you support these needs. And the last one, direction. And it's something stupid, but if there's no direction, no one knows where they're going. And this direction is actually shaped by the national direction. National direction does not mean that it's the MC direction. National direction is the entity direction. That is the thing that, for instance, this term we've been like going away from it, and it was like to build a direction that at the end of the day mostly the MC builds and presented to the LCs, instead of having this bottom-up culture and having this not even bottom-up culture. It's not bottom-up. It's a space where everyone is sitting same level, no hierarchy, and we're shaping. This is what we started doing at NTC, and that you're going to work on the next 5 years. That we're going to work for the next 5 years, and is to shape what is the national direction. So what are the steps that we're going to implement to get to ISEC France 2023? And because without this, people do not know where do they want to go, and when you're trying to do this network management, to implement network management activities, it is complicated for you to do it because you're just adding activities. You're just saying that, okay, so let's have completed this summer. Cool. What is that for? How is it going to? But let's have this amount of completed this summer so that it will contribute for our goal for what we want to envision. What do we envision for this ISEC in France 2023? That people all agree and people all follow and connect to this purpose. And then moving to the how. So the how is like mostly regarding like an individual journaling that we're going to do now together. So I'm going to present you a couple of questions, and we'll give you like some time to think and to reflect, maybe like 1-2 minutes per question, so you can take notes. Maybe don't write the questions, but note them 1, 2, 3, 4. I think I have 5 questions. So that you just take notes, and at the end we'll have like a sharing space. Cool. And you'll see as well, like quickly, that the questions are actually going to support you into shaping the direction that you want to take for the next term, actually. So the first question is that, what are the main battles regarding each of the points, identity, communities?
To choose one of the 4 or to...
Maybe, yeah. So what you can do is that you can rank them. What are the things that you think are going to be like, what is going to be the most challenging one from 1 to 4? And then explain, like, have at least in your mind why it's going to be complicated. You want like meaningful music or?
No.
It's nice.
Yeah, when like I think under some pressure.
Question.
Go.
It's more linked to our function, or it's general?
No, because you in your case, I know that in the case of the 12 when I was building the session, I didn't know if people would be here as well, like with commissions. But you can think as well, like maybe for your NSTs or like for the entity. You can think as well. Because network management is, you have like different networks that you're managing. You have this ISEC in France, and then it's sub-split into CXY commission, CXP, TM finance, LCP, the traditional commission. Then you have as well the NSTs, and you have as well, I don't know.
Yeah,
So
for each network, different.
Go with the national network. Go with the national network, with the entity of ISEC in France. You're going with CXY. Okay, go with CXY and go with the. Your friend was going with the national plenary.
It's still general.
I'm just thinking on it.
Actually, you will see that either way it's
I would
integrated.
say it because it's.
You want to have more background
No,
on
it's
this.
more specific because for this for your term. So it's really, I don't want to put something random or general.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
would like to be more specific.
Concrete. I'm thinking like the possible challenge I may have when I'm handling the outside commission.
Because
if it's NSTs or it's something.
Anyway,
Yeah.
the position is moving from digital marketing to marketing,
Mm-hmm.
and we need a new identity.
Yeah.
That's the point.
So that is so for you, like to me, that is going to be like one big challenge for marketing, because marketing has been a function that has changed twice in the name. Only the name of the person has changed twice in the last 2 terms. So yeah, like the identity of marketing is still in.
Even with NST, however, we have some with marketing. I think that however we are going to manage the commission, they need to have identity. Marketing. That's the point. That's why I asked if we need to be more specific.
Because this question of see like the real split that you have between like marketing and CXY and OGX and whatever, something that you will be discussing during planning, I guess. And the reason why, like, I know that maybe so this can be like a bit early because you still don't know like if marketing will be falling 100% into the CXY commission will have the same identity as OGX and CXY, or like if they will be branded with the MCVP with the marketing team.
Okay, we'll put this implement.
We are good? Yeah?
No.
No? Okay.
Sorry.
It's fine. You remember the question, Aldo? Or I put the... Because I can put the next question in between if you want.
No, I'm not
Okay.
do it for the honesty. They're completely different.
Yeah. We can start doing for the NST as well if you want.
I included them.
Okay, cool. We can just...
Okay. It's not. No, it's okay.
This isn't the collaboration thing we're talking about.
Started it.
Okay.
Laura?
Yeah.
You're good, Aldo? Okay. Second question. How do you see yourself being able to learn and to capitalize from your network, and how will they help you? Because something as well that we tend to see as MCP is that we're the only one that can bring things to our commissions, to the network. But there's something as well that they can bring you and they can support you. Good. You're good too? Okay. This question, the answer of your question will actually depend on your advancement in your transition, I guess. But how do you currently assess the network management of your predecessor, and what are the main strengths and main weaknesses? What would you check? What would you keep? It's a big and heavy questions, I know, so I will give you more time for this one. But it's for like to kind of do a SWOT analysis of the network management, specifically of your predecessors. And in case you can think as well as MC, even like maybe as MC in general in your case, with your audit, because you have this audit position, so you need as well to have an overview from everything. So to think maybe as MC 17, 18 as well. Okay, it got you confused. Okay, you were going to write. No. So that forget what I said.
No, it's fine.
Because I was telling you, so that in your case, maybe you can as well think about, because as well as OD, you need to have as well like an overview on everything. So the thing as MC 17,
So
18.
like MC management of Isaac in France.
Yeah, you can
Okay.
think this way.
Ooh,
So that your
that's a big
answer
question. That's a pretty big question.
But you will use it for pre-planning, I'm sure. You will have a day.
Yeah, that's important.
No, go.
But just
I feel very pressured right
Yeah.
now.
no, just imagine that I had just two transition meetings, so it's
No. So yeah, so that is what I told you. Like actually even the next one, the next one I will invite you to co-answer the two of you. Maybe it's only for the two of you actually. The next question that I just realized.
Okay,
So you can keep going on this one. And yeah, I told you like these questions. Some of them are like depending on the advancement of the transition. By this time, you should be like way more advanced in your transition. No, you're good. You're good, and you should be a bit related later as well. So yeah, that is the reason. It's okay. So for you, it's
Yeah.
cancel. So that is the thing. So the network of your function, how it's not the same as the network management. Is how would you assess so the LCVP network? So you LCVP and your co-LCVP. So maybe discuss on this question. No, this is not
Yeah,
for you.
yeah, I know.
Like a SWOT again?
It doesn't have to be like deep SWOT, but think yeah, maybe okay, only like strengths and weaknesses of this commission as well. Like were they bonded? Were they communicating? Like do you think that you can have talents from there as well?
Like highlights.
Yeah.
Illumina.
Yep, like you can discuss with Eldora on this one.
Okay.
Because the CXY commission is interesting. So marketing and the CXY
I
discuss.
got something yesterday.
You
Mhm.
got something? So
Like
it's,
the contract, guys. The
the contract.
5 facts of the contract. It's
Yeah.
the 9 months.
It's like one thing is, I think if you didn't have like personal contact with these people, they're not existent. Not like they're not answering, not existent. So this is like huge minus because you're trying to build this. I put this also in identity with a commission that doesn't respond to you, so you don't necessarily know if they have the sense of belonging, and most of the time they don't. There are like a couple of people, like most of the time. There's this terminology of focus LC that I don't like so much because that, I don't know, kind of makes them more engaged and leaves the others kind of like more left out. Most of the time it's the same people who is talking, like CXY commission is like top 5, top 6, not the others. Yeah. What else? Like plus side, there's a lot of business students that probably know more than us about marketing, about management. So like we can use them as for creating, I don't know, even an NSC. No, maybe not the LX for NSTs. I don't want that because for CXY there's a huge lot of work. So NST, I don't think so. That would not work for me. Like I'm thinking for myself.
No, I'm totally agree. What I put is in Steve, we need
Parents,
to
like
try to engage with the parents of alumni.
yeah, definitely. This is what I'm trying to do. Currently with, like, for example, the EcoSud people.
Yesterday you told me that there is a VP marketing that is really
Mhm,
good.
mhm.
And why
And
not try to engage in
her.
her?
Yeah.
And she wants to, so.
Yeah, she wants
That's
to.
the point. And also try to more
Yeah.
open.
Mhm.
What else? Let's
For my perspective, French is so big, and we can see this in the commission of CXY a lot. That's what I got yesterday. And in my opinion, it's not a problem of focus, but more of direction. Because assessing the performance, because for me, I am a lot of data. When I see the data, I say, okay, you can tell me a lot of fun facts, but I see this. Okay, random performance there.
That's true.
Yes, this is the direction that maybe is missing, but it's difficult because they are so different. They are so a lot of. There is a 5 LC, no 5 VP, CXY, 5 different directions. Yes, that's the point.
Also,
and they are new. I mean, they are just a lot of them are just joining Isaac. So there is a not a how can I say? Because I don't want. For me, it's not bad. Maybe something that we just need to find the right way to work with.
It's not, for example, for NSTs this year is like there were NSTs, but not necessarily super relevant to the reality. So, for example, like change of NSTs, and what I could also, for me, the difficult part would be like NSTs team established, because I think like we should do like team established NSTs for them to engage their members, and NSTs based on the thing that you talk about, like the reality of it.
How is structured the SDT?
I have no idea. Okay.
Oh, you have a session after that regarding like all the NSC structure of this term, yeah.
Okay.
And this term,
Yes.
and this term is based on country, but it was like
Is international?
a little IR, a little management, like a little.
It was split into different two focus, commission management and IR this term. So you had NSC supporting with IR and others supporting with commission management.
Like commission management?
Network consultants.
Okay, consultants.
Yeah.
But there was no really follow up on the meetings, and again, since it was like implemented in the half term, a lot of people didn't necessarily answer to NSTs, which made them less motivated, less inclined to do follow-ups and force people.
Yeah, like, okay, go back to this. Sorry, because this is like going to be, you have
Next
1 hour about this
Okay.
after lunch, and I'm going to discuss
Okay.
about it. I'm going to.
This for me is, this is why I want to like include marketing more this term, because as he says, it was really difficult to like understand who you should talk to, because we didn't have direct communication with Noel, like a direct channel with Noel, and which made, I think, the content, for example, if I want to create an event, it will make it more difficult to understand how I can work with Noel. Like it took like a lot of time to practice to understand how exactly I should communicate information with her. So it's really diverse network. So this is why like I want marketing more in, and I want people to talk directly to you, for instance, when it's marketing. And I
In
don't
my
care.
opinion,
Like I care.
the ideal situation would be to have a marketing commission, and for the CXY commission, start to build a kind of support, and
The thing
from the
is,
marketing, try to support the CXY, no?
the thing is,
That's
if
the
you want
point. Because
marketing,
for me, it's not fair that MCP marketing communicate with CXY. Because it's a lot of messages and a lot of, I don't know.
but if you would see a marketing commission, you should, then you have everyone, because you have the marketing and you will have the CXY, so it's everyone. And then the operational side of CXY is, then it's a lot of like division. You know what I mean? Because CXY is the one doing marketing local. So when you have a marketing commission, you have everyone. And that's also, it's the same problem, because then you will not be able to support in terms of, and probably you will because you have the background, but then I have like nothing. Yeah.
Yes, I imagine just what kind of support these LCVP should receive.
Again,
Which kind of support the LCVP should receive from the MC?
like
That's the
for me, like
imagine if you are LCVP CXY and you have your LCVP CXY, then transaction, you have consultancy and the stuff. You have, I don't know, maybe newsletter, maybe highlights of this. And then you have the other MCP, they contact you and have the marketing. It's a lot of information, a lot of, I don't know.
for me, like I don't know if the NST team were relevant. I don't care about the MCVP. Like I care about you, but what the problem was, NST team was emotional support that I didn't need. I have my LCP for that. You know?
Yes, I agree. I was a NST consultant.
It was like, how are you feeling? Are you okay? Like, what is this like? It's weird. I needed functional support at the time, and since I didn't get it from there, I turned to Bulba. This is the kind of support you need from the MC, and like MC can like should be, I don't know, more customizing it in terms of reality, because I don't need the same thing as Itesu needs, obviously. And this is the support I needed. Yeah. This is really linked
Yeah,
to
okay.
NST. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know. Because what you're saying is, I see like a lot of things I'm going to mention in one other session. So yeah, okay. I will still we still need to move because we have 17 minutes. And ask you the last question, and is, so actually, what is the biggest battle that you want to fight within for your network for the next term? You're good, Laura. You catch stuff. You catch stuff.
I mean, I could continue. I always can.
All good? Okay. So I added the side of sharing space, and I was like, I would check it according to the time of the session. And if we don't have time, dommage fromage. Yeah. So no, we have like 50 minutes, and I told you like at the end I want to give you a space like to ask me as well like questions. Regarding like more French reality, etc., etc. So that's the reason I will be moving and printing you as well. I need to have an animation here, but it's make sure that you put this into a framework, and that is something that you will be using, that you will start doing during in the next weeks, in the upcoming weeks. With your week after next week is going to be for your week for processing all the infos that you had this week. After you have pre-planning, then you have IC, then you have post, you have real planning, then again digestion, the pre-planning and planning. So then you have digestion of everything. So you will be like doing it, and make sure that everything that you do is like it's put into a framework, and that so you put it into a timeline, and you make sure that you implement it. And something as well is I told you like the peer-to-peer support, and it can be as well within your MC for this kind of stuff. And if you're not good at tracking yourself, ask someone to do it, and do not hesitate to have someone doing it with you and have this support, this peer pressure. I will not do it next time. Cool. Final messages before the question and answers. Is don't forget your role to serve the network. I explained you the why of the MC is again this, and this is what we want to have for this entity as well, and it's this more servant leadership towards the entity. Do not forget that you're not the only leader, and they're not full time. That is something as well that we tend to forget. They're not full time. You're full time. And you're not the only leaders, because they have LCPs, and they have many LCPs on the local level. They have actually they have parents as well that are more important than you. So you cannot tell them to do this and they will just follow. Yeah. Do not forget that you're not the one with all the answers as well. And there is something as well that is really accurate to this entity. In this entity, and is the concept of VPs and members and LCPs that think that the MC has all the answers. And that is not correct. Of course, like in my case, I have more knowledge regarding functional processes because it's because I've been experiencing the processes. But I don't have all the answers, and like it happens still that some LCPs would ask me a question, I would ask some time off, and I would ask, okay, so let me check the info. I don't want to tell you something stupid, so I can check the info if you want. I can ask to other MCPs. So that is the reason as well, like you have networks globally that support you in this direction. Do not feel stupid to send a text into this chat and to ask them a question if you have a doubt, because an LCP asks you the question. And do not be afraid as well to tell to your people in this entity that I don't have the answer. I can look for the answer, but I don't have the answer. But do not forget as well to support them, but as well to challenge them. They're not babies as well. No? They're at some point that they need to grow up, and it's not by staying in their comfort zone that they will be moving, that they will be supporting into moving this entity forward. And the last point is something that as well an MC member tends to forget, and is do not forget to support yourselves as well. And it's linked that to one of the points that I mentioned before, is that in the productivity session and the energy, is that take care of yourselves as well as MC members. So for instance, quick explanation is that you do not answer text of your LCVPs and of your people from your bed in the morning when you wake up. That is not the first thing that you do, and that is not the last thing that you do either. This is not healthy. I know that I have messages. So I know that it happens to me still. So that in the morning I will open my eyes and I will have my phone and I will see all the messages that I have, because WhatsApp groups, etc. So it's a little bit pressured, and I will start answering. But it cannot be the first thing that you do when you wake up and the last thing that you do when you fall asleep. So that is the reason why as well, like think about as well, like your mental state and your health, and that you take care about yourself as well. Any questions that you have?
French people.
French people. The thing is that again, like if we go like really broad into this question of French people, it can be like again generalities, and then you understanding that actually people are not the same as in this network, because like each MC, like we have this, we have a space of French reality, ISEC France reality, and then you go at NTC and you're like, They lied to me. They are not the people that they presented to me. But yeah, like a lot of things that you already mentioned is that this entity is based in a really big country. And like with this big country, it means that distance between the LCs. And actually, even the LCs that are in the same city do not have special bonds. So we still have this issue of creating bonds among the LCs. We're still missing this part of creating this community of ISAC in France. Like locally, they manage it better than us, like nationally. And that is something that we're missing, and that would bring this entity to another level and to another step, and is to have one ISAC in France. That is working towards ISAC in France 2023, for instance. So diversity, so within the commissions, it's the same. Within the commissions, like commission activity, the size of the commissions varies from, you have the smallest commission that is currently financed, and no, it's CXP. CXP has 11. TM is below 10 now. So TM is below 10 on CVPs, on 18 and 21 LCs, I will still count 21 LCs. So it's less than 10 on CVPs, and the biggest commission is currently operations, with more than 52 VPs at the moment. So, and okay, so if you split it, it's like 12 is 11, sorry, LCP CXP, and is 41 on CVPs at CXY commission. So CXY commission, remember, projects, marketing, PR, event, PD, others. So that is the on the NUF is like this the spreadsheet other goes to CXY. So that is what happened this term. So like a lot, like the commissions varies as well. So in the way that you interact with them, like for instance, some things that, in my case, I had a commission group. I have a Facebook group for my commission that I was trying to post regularly. And Martin has only a Facebook chat with his VPs. He has like 12 VPs, so he has it, because I tried to have, like, when I started my term, I wanted to have as a Facebook chat. Oh, I forgot something. Yeah, we'll mention it WhatsApp. I wanted to have like a Facebook chat, but like with 40 people, you know, it's going to be like completely messed up. So you just cut it. And then yeah, so that is something that I did not mention. It's WhatsApp. WhatsApp versus Facebook in France.
Oh.
WhatsApp is not existent.
Yeah.
Not as ISAC in France, but as a country. As a French person, like we don't use WhatsApp because
it's free.
Like yeah, for us it is free to text, like to call internationally. So like we don't need to. We have a lot of data. We don't need to, I don't know, like use WhatsApp or whatever. So that is an issue as well.
But
So
they
yeah.
need to use WhatsApp. Like,
So yeah, the thing is that they need to use WhatsApp. If the peer pressure, the global peer pressure of ISAC pushes us to use WhatsApp as ISAC members, recommendations that were given by the regional manager of GV, Edis, like he told me to shut down all the Facebook group, like the commission group, and to only use WhatsApp for the VPs. So it was in May. So I was like, no, and that would not work, because as well, this is like too extreme.
Yeah.
Like there still needs to be a way of implementation. I know that WhatsApp is very important because you're going to go to IC and have IR meetings, and then like people will be setting expectations. So yeah, it's super cool. Yeah, we can create a group like France Colombia.
Jesus needed in her master
Licence, bachelor, isolation bachelor.
in the last year of
No, he was.
so SVP, 6P of
Leon. Yeah.
It's still recording, by the way. So info that you're giving here.
Oopsie.
That is the reason why I'm like.
Amazing.
Okay, fuckers. And I was saying, so yeah, there still like needs to be some work on how to implement WhatsApp. Actually, trying to implement WhatsApp during summer is not going to be the easiest work as well, because you know that your commission is not going to be here during summer. And when your commission is on holidays, like when this entity is on holidays, entity is on holidays. So holidays happen. Holidays happen like so July, August, and December, January. You don't have much people being active as well.
The thing is, but it have a reason, and is that like a huge part of ISAC in France are international.
Yeah.
So like they go back to their home countries or they travel. So it's not because they just don't care. It's because like they have live outside of it. Not like me. Whatever.
Question.
Oh, yeah, she texted.
Question.
1, 2.
Okay.
Okay, and as well, like maybe use this finger system.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3.
Okay. Cool. So I've been talking to Fernanda because I know that she's a huge fan of Slack, and I'm also like I love Slack. Do you think it's a good idea to create Slack for CXY and dividing it to channels of marketing as CXY, for example?
Again, like I would recommend you to go and to talk with your LCPs. So in my case, in my personal experience of communicating with my commission, I started off with sending newsletter on a weekly basis. Before I started my term, I sent 3, and I realized that people were not reading my newsletter.
Me too.
Because I was putting like some words in my newsletter that would not make sense, and I was asking them to people to answer to me. Some like 5 people answered to one of my emails saying that yeah, this word should not have been there. So I was like, okay, no one is reading my newsletter. So I sent back while I asked during step, what is the way you want me to communicate with you? So then I sent back another form to ask them, okay, so how do you feel about the newsletter, etc., etc. Vote was Buba, only use the commission, the Facebook group. So I started using the Facebook group. At some point, I saw as well like it started fading out. So I was like, okay, so do you want to get the newsletter? And then I think I sent one, and then MC, we had like MC replying, and we said, okay, no newsletter, no like commission newsletter, only the national newsletter. That was sent 2 weeks, and then LCs were complaining because it was too much information. So we decided once every 2 weeks, and then after like.
And then we discovered that like the platform that we were using that was free. After 4 times of using it, you needed to pay. So we canceled.
Yeah, so it like lasted for 2 months. So like it's always like as well understanding like what do you people want, but your people wishes as well like change on quite regular basis. So you need to keep up and to be flexible. Issue with Slack is, in your case, you're already using Asana is not a platform to communicate.
No.
It's linked to Slack, but like. I know from personal experience that using Slack in the MC is something that worked in this MC like for a couple of months and then faded out. And I'm afraid that if you try to do it with the entity, with the commission as well, like they will not install the Slack app on their phone just to make sure that they will pick up.
Like,
yeah.
For me, the Slack for commission management is not a good idea. Like Slack is more. For me, it's a platform that allows really fast communications and teams that need to be constantly communicating, like an MC. But in terms of like a commission, that what you are going to release is booklets and that kind of things and more information and recognitions, I don't see it like as a.
Okay.
You know what you can do? Not send if they do not answer to the emails, you can post the newsletter on Facebook in the group. You can do it. Like a file, and they comment under the post, and
even we tried. We're doing a little term. Facebook have Facebook for companies that is linked to Facebook. It's really like I think that is really interesting. It's being implemented by different entities. It's called Workplace.
Yes, we use it.
In Italy, they use it. It's really effective, and we can start to see it.
Okay.
We can start to see it. It's interesting, but like I think I will talk a little about that.
Yeah.
For example, in Italy, we use this just for the commission of LCVPs for FORB, and then the Facebook group for everyone members. That's it. But in the end, yes, it's like Facebook. So maybe they like it. It's like Facebook.
It's really professional Facebook.
It's professional.
Okay.
And you can post PDF file, and it's really professional.
And the basic platform is free, and if you want to make it like amazing, you pay. It's not that much.
And it's something like another app or something that you would have to
download. It's another app.
And also, okay, maybe this is more.
Okay. It's now. Like so the two. You had a question as well.
No, yes, but. You want to
so the two last like quickly, and then we move to.
No, it's more about Facebook management. So I don't know if it's relevant at this point. For example, for the Facebook post, after a while, like you were more active before on it, like you were more scheduling posts, maybe, I don't know.
That's it.
And then it was like more, hey, I have an EP, like more VPs.
This was like in the this was in the Minions, because what happened as well is that we split the group, and like I had the Minions League, so my commission CXY. Then when I took over operations, I created a new group for operations, and so we put all the operations together. So I had like content plan for them, and then for Minions League, I stopped posting. And what happened in this group is that, so the VPs CXY took over and then started posting themselves, like questions regarding EPs. So yeah, I'm sending this EP to this country. Can I do this? And so actually, so the LCP CXY were receiving information on 2 different groups.
Yeah.
My information on the operations crew, and then the information on Minions League, like questions regarding the. So if you can avoid this kind of situation, do it. But it's because I could not as well like take. I would have preferred to have as well. Kind of separated, but I didn't have access to CXP commission, so that was the easiest for me to just create everything together. I'll do your question.
Okay. GCP, BCP, about marketing commission. What happened between you and Noel and the commission CXY?
Yeah, the BCP first semester, GCP second semester. Because
actually, it increased the second semester. In terms of even the campaigns that were released on the second semester that were run nationally, that wasn't something done on the first semester. Like for instance, the Easter campaign and Valentine's campaign were not things that we did on the first semester. First semester, what happened? The way we tried to work was, so we had Noel that co-delivered session with me at STEP. We co-prepared all the sessions at STEP. The thing is that in terms of delivery of the session, that wasn't working because we're 2 different facilitators and with 2 different ways of communicating with people. And for instance, you have Noel that has like this small voice that can be like kind of yelling at people. So people would kind of freak out and would look. I had LCPs looking at me during the sessions, like looking for help. So I was trying to give some space, and then happened NTC. So I gave her a session with the LCPs. She had like 10 minutes an hour with the LCPs, so to explain to them as well, like how to work together. Lack of communication again. We tried again at Spark, another hour session. So she had a 1 hour session with the LCPs to explain so how to work, etc., etc. No follow-up from our side on this one, on this point, because what was presented was to create a form for the LCPs so that they could fill out applications. Like they would create an event, so they would ask on this form. So I want to create an event. I want to have an event. I will have an event like in 3 weeks. So I have already all the content, or I need to have content created by the national office. This is what my budget for Facebook ads, etc., etc. And this was not done from the MC side. So because of that, like a lot of miscommunication. So the LCs were not receiving the support, as much support as they could have received from the national office, from what they understood. But meanwhile, the thing that happened is that, for instance, we ran the EF campaign on the first semester. That was mostly run actually from the national office on digital, and like badly downscaled on the local level, so that the LCs were having issues understanding this whole campaign, because we started before Spark, and we pushed it at Spark a lot in terms of we gave the bookmarks, etc., and the materials at Spark, but we started the campaign before. The second semester, reviewing as all the strategies and the way of working with the LCs. Actually, in terms of communication, we did not change anything regarding the LC. What happened was that me being more pushy regarding like LCs asking us questions for the campaigns, and actually starting posting promotional campaigns ideas for the LCs. And for instance, for Easter, I did like a survey, a poll for the LCs to see if they were planning to have a campaign, if they would have wanted to have it nationally, if they had only their local campaign that they did not want to have support from the MC, or if they had nothing planned and they didn't want to do anything. And like on this kind of post, actually, I was not receiving much answers. So like then trying to repush everything in terms of redownscaling and repushing all the strategies for this campaign were complicated. But then like so room for improvement is of course this form. For instance, if you want to, they will have Facebook pages, but like with Facebook page implementation, like there is a big thing to work on and to see as well, like how they are going to work together to make sure that brand alignment is being respected, and then there's a strategy into boosting this entity. But what can I say more? Yeah, like this question is like still a bit blurry, and I think that the B2C corner, because the B2C corner with this one big commission, and then see how to work on it if a small split needs to happen, if no split needs to happen, because as well think about something roadmap implementation 1819 and with CXY structure, then you're going against one of the foundational projects. Go.
No, just so that the process dynamics. You had two different trackers, and you had your own trackers. Noel their own trackers.
The thing is, like,
and you had a meeting every week.
I'm going to try to explain that a little, because for me, the problem between CXY and DM during this term depends on the vision that you give to the role of marketing. Because the role that was sold and the role that we create during planning about digital marketing, not even a tracker.
Social media management.
It was social media management.
That is
So there is no direct connection between there is no clear positioning inside the customer flow in the first semester of Noel. The results that she had, super impressive, of course, like one person with an NST of 15 people handling social media of ISIC in France, of course. But it didn't have an impact on the commission. Why? But it was not good, it was not bad. It was like a proposal that was set by the NCP, and it was a one to boost our digital channels, and like that was her function.
Yeah.
And in the second semester, there was first of all, it was already late, because for an entity like ISIC in France, I will repeat this, you need consistency. You need consistency. You need to sell one idea and hold that idea. We start to change it. We'll start to have start to understand that even though she was digital marketing, she had influence inside the customer flow. And I think that like all these questions that you are having right now, it depends first on the plan, and is what is going to be in the planning and to understand what is the role of marketing. At the moment that you understand how both roles interact, and that both roles are different but are focusing in the same customer flow, like you will start to have more clarity. Because like don't think it, and my recommendation for this is don't think about like, oh, how we're going to handle the commission or the channels. No, think it about customer flow. What is going to be the influence of marketing inside the customer flow, and from that idea that is the base idea, you will develop all the strategy. But you need to have really clear your why. That at the end of the day is the customer, not the commission. When you clarify that, the ideas will come in how to handle it. That is, at the end, is the how and the why.
Nikki, that is a project we had that we tried to take on the second semester, and that is going to be the synergy. That is the session about synergies, and it's our idea of trying to have a more product approach strategy in terms of synergies, and not having like us like all of our roles, but trying to see how do all the positions contribute to OGV, and we're going in the customer flow. And where do you interact within the customer flow? And how do we all interact regarding as well IGT, and how do the positions interact with IGT? That is the way we've been working. Okay, we really need to move on. So thank you. It's you have another session.
Can we have toilet break? Can we?